Hey everybody, this is the third time I had to do this intro today. Anyway, welcome back to Passpartout. Patch drop today. There's two new features that I can really speak of that are very notable. One of which is that now when I sell my paintings, I can haggle on the price a little bit. It seems like it has a high risk, high reward type of situation, and I'm not really going to look into doing it very often. And the other thing that they added is the Swedish language pack, which they described as the language of the Vikings and IKEA. So I'm not really adverse to putting that on, but I think I'm going to avoid it. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get started. I was in Act 2 of this game, so I have my own studio here. If you look, it now costs me $200 a week, so I need to make sure that I'm fetching top dinero for my paintings. And if you look outside, I have a little window that says Passpartout and the logo of the game called Passpartout, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so I got a couple of requests I need to burn through. Let's get to it. So, boom. There's one painting down. Somebody said, paint just a single dot. Somebody will buy it. So, we'll go with that one. And the other painting that I had that I'm actually going to work on for this session is somebody wanted a portrait of Greg Gogh from the Dungeons & Dragons game that I'm playing right now. Which is an interesting one because I haven't really decided entirely what I think Greg looks like. So we're going to find out basically as I paint through this stuff. So, I suppose some art doesn't require time. Mary, well, I suppose some powdered wigs require 7 hours to put on, but you don't hear me calling people out for it. Anyway, wow, there's actually a whole different, line of patrons than I've seen beforehand. We have, this really, really short dude, and we had Mary with the umbrella. That's kind of neat. Oh, Giorgio doesn't like it either. Yeah, I don't think that a whole lot of people are going to go for the painting of the single dot, which is very unfortunate, but also completely unsurprising. So anyway, let's see. What would be the background for Greg Gogh? Let's see. He's kind of in this dismal world of gray and black and stuff like that. I don't know. Let's do. I don't really want to do too much in terms of putting down a background, so we're gonna make this a Velvet Elvis style thing, and we're just gonna have it be be on a black background. So let's start roughing out some forms here. We have Greg is a bugbear, so he's got some brown. He's got a brown face going on, and then he also is wearing splint mail. So we'll do that. I'm gonna need to make his head a lot bigger, so we'll increase the size of that. It's gonna be roughly that size. Again, being very, very rough with my forms when I'm starting out, so that I have a lot of room to go with. Let's add in something like that. Actually, we need to bump the whole painting just to the right, an inch or two. Okay, so we'll do that real quick. And this will be interesting because this is actually going to be fairly difficult for me to do in a way that doesn't look like total ass. See, the thing is, I am really, really bad at drawing furries. So, I'm relatively okay at drawing people, but furries is something that I'm just not practiced in whatsoever. I know that might surprise you considering I have played so many furry games in my days, but alas, I'm actually not a furry. I have many, many friends that are furries though. They're when I was a kid, I mostly hung out with furries. Weirdly enough, it's just kind of how things happen. Though I myself was not one. Anyway, let's see. I was just sitting down in front of Photoshop and just giving random scores. Wander, you don't need to just like come in and like shit up like like my chat, although it is very, very funny for you to throw some shade right now. Okay, so we're gonna add in like that. Let's see. It's gonna be a little bit interesting to see if I can figure out how to differentiate his arm with this one color here from his like shoulder and forearm and stuff. I may, I'm gonna have to, that's gonna actually be very, very tough. Alright, let's see. Furries. Do furries tend to have necks? I don't even really know so much about that, but whatever. Well, maybe I shouldn't give him like a, oh, I know how I'll do it. So we'll change the angle so that his arm is coming out of the picture plane like that, and we'll make it a little bit steeper, like so. We'll pull some black in that way. Okay, and that's gonna be roughly where his hand ends up being. Now we want to add in the I guess the great axe, which will be slung casually across his back. But I don't know. This doesn't look like chain, or what is he wearing? Splint mail, if I remember correctly. So we'll give him kind of more, something that looks more like pauldrons, rather than like a wife beater vest that he's wearing. And we'll do something like that. And we need to have the arm come out more in that direction. There we are. That's looking relatively believable. It's definitely not, you know, the greatest looking work of art, but it'll kind of start things off. I'm gonna add in some highlights of stuff real quick. We want to make that like nice and shiny looking. We're gonna probably add in a little, like a very thin black line to differentiate the plate right there. Wow. I'm just gonna take this painting off the wall because I don't want to just hear people coming along and just like bullshitting about it the whole time. Can I close this out and then walk over there? No, that'll probably just discard it, so I guess I gotta roll with it. Okay, well that's fine. Whatever. So we'll flesh in more of that hand now, and then another thing that I'm gonna do real quick is differentiate the shoulder, some of these shoulder plates a little bit here. Oh, that looks okay. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna, with these three colors, how I'm gonna make this work. I guess we probably want to have like a little rim along the top there, and top there. We need to make those very, very thin, I think. Yeah, something like that gives it a relatively reflective looking surface. Just want to make those as thin as possible. Yep, okay, that's looking relatively armor-esque. Use purple to do highlights in the armor. I guess I could. There's nothing really too purple about like his background though. Like if I made the background purple, then it could work. But actually, if I'm gonna do anything to highlight his armor, it should be this cream color, because there's a lot of, you know, brown bugbear fur nearby, so that makes more sense than anything else. This also, let's see, this should be really, really thin. Okay. And we want to just make that follow the form a little bit more there. Alright, so that's relatively close. We would also probably want to have some sort of, yeah, something like that along the bottom here. Okay. That's about as splint mail-y as I'm gonna get. So we'll just have to live with it. Okay. I'm gonna make his face a little bit rounder there. Okay, those are kind of what bear ears look like. Suppose I could look at a picture of a bear to figure it out, but eh. Let's see. Bear ears are kind of like very round, if I remember correctly. Those were a little bit more on the cat side, I guess. But yeah, that's about as good of a furry face as I think I can really muster. So let's start adding in a couple of highlights here. We want to have a big brown nose. Wait. Okay, I have a better idea than Greg, and we're gonna make it happen. Oh man, this is the greatest idea I've ever had. Alright, hang on. Let me look up something really quick. Uh-oh, my phone's about to die. That's not encouraging. Well, whatever. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, this is already the right idea, I think. So we'll do that, and we'll do that, and we'll do something like heh and heh. Alright, there you go. That is good stuff. Okay, and let's start adding in actually some of the highlights that you need to do here. That is way brighter than I expected it would be. Right, because I skipped a shade there. Okay. So let's see. I guess I should have made him yellow if I was really going to commit to this idea too much, but I've already kind of blocked in a lot of these colors, so I'm just going to live with it as is. Alright, so we got that going for us now. Let's see if I can make those ears a little bit more Winfred manure handsy while I'm here. Okay, just round out that top a little bit. Just reclaim that space, and then something like that. Something like that. And then we want to just take out some of the space up there. There we go. It's Winfred Manure Hands, everyone's favorite bear. So we'll give him some like actual like cheek stuff. With just differentiate with some highlights here. Guess I'll also probably do some forehead stripey. That was like really big, but whatever. This idea is patently ridiculous. Absolutely absurd. Okay, so let me think for a second here. Yeah, so we're gonna do something like this. This is gonna be very interesting to see if I can draw a hand, given the constraints that are before me here. So we'll do this. We want to have like a line like right there. Yeah, this is going to be real interesting to see if I can make a halfway decent looking hand, all things considered. We want to pull that thumb up like that. Pull something like this. We're going to want to add maybe a little bit of highlighting along the top of the thumb, like so. We'll fill in this part. Okay. That's looking kind of close to what I guess I can probably do given the constraints of the limited space and the fact that the hands are really hard. And I'm using tools that could be best described as pretty primitive. Okay, so we want to have some... Let's see. That looks relatively close. We'll do that. Just gonna start blocking in his hand as best as I can here. That. Jeez, this is... The hands are already like the hardest fucking thing to draw. And then on top of it, I'm doing it in like MS Paint here. Alright. I'm just gonna kind of do it very quickly so I can get a general idea of what I need to be doing and what I need to consider, and then I'll make it look slightly less shit as I work on this thing. So we want to, I don't know, probably pull that in more like that. Okay. Relatively what I want to be doing. I say relatively good quite a bit in this series, I think. Okay. Boy, the more I work on, like, the first pass was looking okay, but the more I'm working on this, the more I'm like, oh shit, it's just getting worse the more I fiddle with it, which is very, very often the case when it comes to hand time here. But, let's see. Okay. We want to probably thin out that part a little bit. And just add... I wish I had a mirror or something so I could look at my own hands for reference while I work on this, but it's okay. This'll do. Bullshitting it will do well enough here. Okay, we want to just pull in a little bit more of the wrist that I erased, just kind of hint at it there. Okay, actually kind of acceptable. Not, you know, the best looking hand I've ever drawn, but I'm sort of recovering it into looking not fucking horrible. Okay, so we wanna pull in a little bit more of that part of his finger here. And I guess probably like that. Yeah, I'm making do here. Certainly not the greatest, but I'm getting at least a little bit of the shape of the fingers that I would like to be going for. Okay, and then we want to actually pull this part of the knuckle back, so, or not the knuckle, but the finger back, so it's going over the one that's next to it. Alright, I'm not really actually going to fiddle with this all that much more, even though it looks horrendous, because I don't really think I can get much better than this as is. Oh, jeez, that's actually pretty atrocious. Let's at least do something like this. So I want to have actually this finger being more over the meaty part of the thumb, I guess. Yeah. All right, that's okay. I can probably start to add in a little bit of highlighting on top of the fingers as well, just to see if that will help out a little bit here. And I have them on the wrong parts of the hand, I think, so I need to change where these highlights are, so that they match the rest of the drawing. I have standards, you know. I'm not meeting those standards, but I have them all the same. I want to do something like that. And then let's add in, or let's make those like more thin if I can. Okay, and we want to just add in a couple more differentiating lines on the fingers there. Okay, that's more than enough as far as I'm concerned for trying to get this to look not incredibly horrible here. Looks like he burned his hand. Yeah, kind of. He kind of has like, what's it called? Vitiligo? I think that Michael Jackson had, like, on his hand. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it all that much. Okay, and we need the shaft of the great axe. So we'll just have that be... Fortunately, I don't really have a whole lot to work with in terms of that. I guess we can go with... Let's go with bright cyan. And I totally fucked up the angle. Oh boy, I don't really get a whole lot of shots at this, so I better not, like, screw it up too much. Yeah, hang on. Cyan was obviously not the right choice, and I also should... God, I hate drawing hands. Okay. Well... Though cyan was probably not the right choice, it's going to be the choice that I stick to because I really only get one shot at fitting this thing in. So gotta live with what I have pulled off here. Okay, let's add in the blade of the great axe coming out in the background here as well. So kind of want to imply that it's like really big, but I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to really do that in a particularly satisfying way. Yeah, that doesn't quite work because the great axe blade would not be... It would be kind of like in that part, but also the angle for everything doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Well, if I made it, like, sharply coming down, I might be able to trick it into working. That might be just about the best that I can do, all things considered. Maybe... yeah, I don't know, that's probably about as good as I'm gonna be able to get here. Scythe, yeah, something like that could work. I mean, if you look at it too close, you're like, well, this obviously doesn't make any sense, but it's about the best I can do that conveys, like, an axe, while also, like, putting it behind his head or whatever. So, that's what I'm gonna stick with here. Now, let's add in some highlights on the axe. We'll just do that. I'll make those highlights a little bit thinner. And how blue is the middle cyan? It's not great. Yeah, we need to keep it the same color as this cyan because this will allow the eye to interpret it correctly as being the same object. We'll add in some highlights on this part of the axe handle. So we gotta live with, we more or less gotta live with this as is. I can probably shade in a little bit. I just, maybe see if I can imply a little bit more of like the blade part. Oh, I just tried to do undo and that obviously doesn't work. No undos for me. I have to be absolutely flawless with nearly every single line that I make, which I'm clearly pulling off. Okay, so let's add in, let's make that as thin as I can. This part of the axe blade should be darker but if I make it like this dark blue, oh, it kind of works. It kind of works to have the I don't know what to call it, like the weightier part of the axe head be this darker blue. Yeah, okay, that kind of works. Now, I wish I could put like some sort of sigil on here. I might be able to squeeze in a pot of honey, I guess. We'll go with that. So he had like, oh, something like this, if I remember, old Winnie the Pooh. Something like that. Yeah, and of course sigils look really, really good when you put them on the very, very end of your axe blade like that, you know? Oh man, that looks really stupid. That's okay. Cool, so let's work on old Winfred's face here a little bit more. Add in some highlights along the top of his ears. Okay, something back there as well. And something like that. I don't know if Winnie the Pooh had like a hair lip or anything like that. It looks pretty weird, so I'm assuming he did not. And let's give him a little chin as well. There we are. Boy, that's a friendly looking face if I ever saw one right there. And let's see. Last but not least, we're gonna throw in a little bee. But it's gonna be like a really shitty doodle of a bee. Yeah, there we are. And it's gonna have some leggies. It's gonna have a smile, and it's gonna be shooting a laser beam out of his stinger right over there. So they're in an epic fight, in case you couldn't tell. Let's give him some stripes, mostly by filling in this part. There we go. Okay, so that's a really, really stupid looking drawing, but it was actually like remarkably amusing to do, in my opinion. Alright, I could also probably fill in the cheeks and stuff like that, but frankly, I want to get this drawing done so I can take this stupid dot painting off of the wall, so I don't have to hear people walk in and be like, oh, blah, every like 5 minutes. So here we go. We're gonna call this one Old Winfred Pooh Mans. Okay, this ought to sell pretty well. Let's go over to this dot painting if I can. Jesus Christ, am I gonna have to hear that for the entire rest of the game? Please, please, let me remove this painting. Okay, okay. Trash it. Oh, thank God I don't have to hear it anymore. Alright, so 4,600. We'll go ahead and take that. And that is basically double the amount of money that I had in my register beforehand. Oh, I unlocked a new tool. I got a nobility for now. Answer Kamiros, please, the more respectable whatevers. Okay, so I basically have to make these really long doodles from now on, so that's okay though. That'll be fun. All right, and with that, we're gonna go ahead and sign off for this one. So thank you for watching.